Hello and welcome everyone to round number 1 for Zenith Online Racing for the EU tier. We're going to be coming to you from the Circuit of the Americas in, well, America for, once again, round number 1. It's going to be at the Circuit of the Americas in Texas. Hopefully this one will be a great one, but running you through the action tonight, it's going to be me, QVR Packer. Sadly, no one alongside me here tonight, so it's just going to be myself. First time doing solo commentary, but very, very excited to get into this one. Looking forward to this one, as I am for every race to get started. Just about to head into this short qualifying session. So yeah. Once again, looking forward to this one, and we've had two different types of races in the first two for Tier 1 and Tier 2. Tier 1, it was dry qualifying, wet race, crazy action, went to torrential conditions for a little time period of that Grand Prix, and then we eventually had a dry end to that race. And it was crazy. There was a late safety car, ton of action. But then in Tier 2, dry qualifying, dry race, and we had an all-out fist fight between the drivers. So much on-track action. It was really, really exciting for that one, as I had the pleasure of commentating over that one as well. But right now, trying to get into this first race of the season for EU. Really looking forward to this one. We have 20 corners here at the Circuit of the Americas. In the first sector, there are 6 through the S's. In the middle sector, there are 6 as well. More focused on straight line speed than all right downforce ability. And then through the last sector, it's the most technical sector on the circuit, with corners 13 through 20, including the infamous triple right-hander of 16, 17, and 18. Right now we're looking at a dry qualifying session so far. So since it is the first round of the season, we don't have any standings or we don't have any standings because, once again, it is the first round of the season. Fuzz just putting something in Discord that is going to be heavy rain to dry in the race. So once again, like Tier 1, it could be quite the race. So now going over to the EU roster. Right now it's going to be in the Alfa Romeo. You can see Gin and Juice and JD Barca, but right now we're on board with DJ Panda in the Alfa Romeo. He did race in Tier 2 and was a lot of the action there on that Thursday evening, but I think he's going to be a reserve. Back in RC, going to be sharing the Alpha Tower. Hair Noir and Excel Lando are going to be in the Ferrari. Rocco and Purple Squirrel in the Haas. Jinnit and Ash's Falcor in the McLaren. Excel Miami last week, or the preseason race winner and pole position setter, is going to be sharing that Mercedes seat with Excel. Cali, JXW, and Siku are going to be in the Racing Points. Amaglis and Dylan Twum in the Red Bull. Bagabones and Barton in the Renault. And Ruben and I'm not exactly sure how to say this one, but Didak, yeah, tell me if I'm saying that wrong. But they are going to be in the Williams seats. Just pulling up the chat, Gomez in the chat saying that there is going to be rain in the race. So yeah, maybe that is being confirmed by Fuzz. It's going to be heavy rain to dry in the race. Let's get these tires up. Right now, JXW is out on track on the medium tire, so let's get on board with DJ Panda in the Alfa Romeo, exiting turn 20. Let's see what he can do on this flying lap, crossing the line, opening up that DRS, and putting that ERS into the hot lap mode. Going up to hill, the highest point on the circuit, braking into turn 1. You can use a little bit more track there, but he's opting not to do it. It's just the banker. Down to first gear, and then short shifting all the way through the gears, through 1, and now down through 2, and now back up towards the S's. There's a little bit of a crest there as you fling into the S's. 3, 4, 5, they all come at you so very quickly. A little bit of understeer there for the Alfa Romeo through 6. Cross that first sector split. It's a 24.9 for the Alfa Romeo. He will go purple through 7, 8, and up the hill through 9. That left-hander, very, very good, difficult on traction, very easy to validate there on that exit, down through the left-handed apex of turn 10, braking into turn 11. Very easy to snatch a inside left brake there, but doing very, very well to avoid that. And now onto the back straight between turns 11 and turn 12. It is the longest DRS zone on the circuit, going a little bit off the track there, but lucky not to invalidate. Now braking into turn 12, a downhill braking zone, so it's very difficult to get absolutely perfect, but looked pretty decent there for DJ Panda. 101.735 for the first man out on the circuit right now. Coming now through turn 15, a little bit of a double apex, but only one corner. Very easy to get wrong, like a lot of corners on this circuit. Now through 16, 17, and through 18. Triple apex right-hander, most infamous corner on the circuit. Now braking, or down 2 gears into turn 19. Looked pretty decent once again, but I'm sure he could carry more speed. It is only the first lap of the session. Out of the final corner, ooh, those rear tires are screaming, but it's going to be a 31.7 for him. The next driver on the lap, is going to be Zamaglis, I do believe, in the Red Bull. 101.0 for the Red Bull driver, so a lot faster than DJ Panda was going through the first 2 sectors. Let's see what he can do. It's provisional pole position for Zamaglis, and we'll be going on to a 30.8. He did pretty decent in Tier 1, if I do remember from Monday night. King Wilsey, the second Alfa Romeo driver, crossed the line. He's derating, though. It's a 31.3, so we'll go in front of his teammate as Larkin goes on pole position right now. Last season's champion. I think he's reserving for this one's a 30.4 for the Williams driver. The next driver on a lap is going to be RC. He's in the Racing Point for Tier 2. He's going to be in the AlphaTauri for this season for the EU tier. Let's see what type of lap he's going to do. Opening up the DRS, across the line at 32.9. It's slower than JXW, who is on the mediums at a 32.6. So not the greatest of laps for RC right there. Both Mercedes... Right now, Cali is going to be crossing the line very, very soon to start a lap. I think that's going to be Excel Landa, the next driver on a lap, using all the track that he possibly can through 19. Looked very, very good for the Ferrari driver. Now braking into the final corner, derating just before that final braking zone. Now out of the final corner, using all the track. It's a 29.2. What a lap there from Lando. He's going to be putting himself decisively onto that provisional pole position. Back out of the final corner, will go into 3rd place on a 30.8, just in front of Zamaglis by a few hundredths of a second. Next Ferrari is Harry Noir. He crosses the line on 39.9, but I think that might have been an outlap. Barton to cross the line to start a lap at no, it's Miami to cross the line, but I think he might have invalidated. Yeah, it was a 31 flat for the Mercedes driver, so that would have put him into P6, splitting the 2 Red Bulls, but it wasn't valid and it did not count. It looks like he's going to be going for another one. Both Hasses on out laps right now. I think that was just Rocco coming out of the final corner to start one, but now looking towards JXW as well as Larkin. They're both going to be pulling into the pit lane. We did miss Fuzz, though, who went on to a 30.5 on his first flying lap, so pretty decent for the 2 Williams boys as DJ Pando's out. DJ Panda is out of the session. We're going to go on board with Rocco. He's going through the first sector. He's going to have to look out for the Alfa Romeo. I'm not exactly sure what happened to him there. Looks in a bit of an odd spot out there on track, so wonder what happened to him. Red Bull driver coming into the pit lane. I think it's going to be Dylan. Yeah, that is Dylan, who's on a 31.3, just in behind his teammate. So let's go on board with Excel Cali. He still has the ERS turned up. It's a 101.3, so a little bit faster than what we saw DJ Panda do, but a little bit slower than what we saw Zamaglis do. It's a 31.3 for the Mercedes driver. So pretty decent so far. He's put himself in that top 10 on those soft compound tires. Going on board with, I think that's going to be Harry Noir, the next one to cross the line. He has his Ferrari teammate just in tow behind him. Look, I think going into the pit lane, but opening up the DRS across the line just into P9 for the Ferrari driver. The next one to cross the line, I think, is going to be the Merc of Excel Miami. You know he's going to be pulling into the pit lane because I think he invalidated on his first lap. Let's take a quick look at the chat. Nothing has been said quite yet. And now let's look on board with the 2 Haas drivers. Purple Squirrel has decided to pull into the pit lane and fit the mediums. But now Rocco, his Haas teammate, going to be coming across the line just now. Not using all the track that we saw Lando use, but will go into poor man's pole position and put himself on a 32.1 P number 11 for him. So he's looking to be the first driver to start on a fresh compound. But yeah, after that, we're going to go on board with Purple Squirrel and watch him do his lap, because I think he's going to be the next one to cross the line, unless it is Harry Noir, I think, as on an in-lap, as well as Excel Cali and Rocco as well just finished a lap, so he's not going to be starting one anytime soon. Just a few track stats before we... Or obviously before, as we're just in qualifying right now. DJ Panda putting in the chat that he lost grip through the S's and has lost 2 of his tires. I didn't quite see that. So interesting from him there. But yeah, I would expect most of these drivers to be going on to soft tires, because the race is going to be starting wet. Which is quite interesting that most of these drivers or 2 of these drivers, JXW and Purple Squirrel, who are on board with just now. quite an interesting choice for both of those guys. But yeah, Purple Squirrel coming to the end of his lap, just exited through 18, now through 19, using a lot of apex curve there, trying to maximize the amount of momentum he can carry through the corners. A little bit of a lockup into that final corner. In a big slide, those medium tires are not the greatest in terms of rear grip, but yeah, 34.3 for Purple Squirrel. You can see those medium tires are not the greatest to be doing flying laps on. I think that was Larkin who just crossed the line. He's going to be the next driver to finish the lap. A lot of drivers on out laps right now, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Try and keep on tab with that. I think the driver behind Larkin is King Wilsey in P8 right now on a 31.3. Larkin, purple first sector for the EU champion. What can he do throughout the rest of this lap? Dipping down through turn 10. Now breaking into turn 11. You can use the AstroTurf out there on the right side and try and use even more track, trying to carry even more momentum through turn 11 there, but deciding against it. Now, out of 11, opening up the DRS through down towards the straight through to turn 12, braking. Right now, downhill, as you mentioned, very, very difficult to get the cars slow. You can use more of that inside curb on the inside. Larkin for 3.5 tenths. It's a 1 minute flat point, or it's a 1 minute 0.3 for the Williams driver, a little bit wide of that apex at turn 16. I wonder what he can do on this lap. It looks pretty decent so far for the Williams driver through 17 and through 18. Now trying to use all the way to the right side for turn 19, a little bit wide of that apex, not getting the turn in ever so correct. Lando's exiting the pits and is on an out lap. He's in the first sector right now, opening up the DRS. Larkin, what can he do? It's a 29.6. He found double his time. He found 5 tenths in that in that last sector, but it's not good enough to go on provisional pole position. It's a 29.6 for Larkin. Lando on a 29.2. He doesn't even have to prove what it looks like right now. Going on board with the next driver, I think that's Purple Squirrel, who's going to be coming into the pit lane. Yes, it is Zenith. He's going to be the next one on a lap, a 1 minute 0.6. So 3 tenths off of Larkin just through the first 2 sectors. Let's see what he can do in the final sector. He goes into third place, just in front of Fusel by 2.5 tenths. So a great lap there for the McLaren driver. Dylan's going to be the next one across the line. He was up by a 10.5. Let's see what he can do. He goes into P8. For him, it's a 30.7. The next driver is going to be Fuselem across the line. He was up by 2,000, so he finds 2 tenths in that final sector. A very, very difficult final sector. Super, super technical, as we mentioned in the lead up to this qualifying session. But yeah, very, very difficult, that final sector, and he tried to find, and he did find the time that he needed to improve and put himself in front of Zamoglis, but still behind Zenith. Miami pole position last week, and he's going to be putting himself on that second row. It's a 30 flat from the Mercedes driver. The next driver across the line is going to be Lando. He's going to be starting one, but as well as his Ferrari teammate, going to be very, very close in tow. I wonder what those two guys are going to be able to do in the rest of this qualifying session. Lando going into turn 1 right there, a little bit wide of that apex, but trying to carry enough speed to maybe improve ever so slightly on that lap time. He's on a 29.2 right now. Let's see what he can do in just a minute and a little bit rest. Let's see what he can do in the last 6 minutes of the session. JXW invalidated. He's going to be coming into the pit lane. I think that's King Wilsey, next driver, but he's invalidated as well. So yeah, a few drivers who have invalidated. Janet did his lap. He's still in P4 right now. He's going to be coming into the pit lane. He has decided to only do the one flying lap. Morocco, P14 right now. He's going to be starting one. He's on an out lap. Let's see what he can do. Let's see what type of exit he gets out of this final corner. In the Haas, looks pretty solid there for him. So he's going to be starting on his lap on a pretty high note. Fuselem is going to be pulling into the pit lane, as well as I think that is Dylan P9, Fuselem in P5. So the next driver to cross the line is going to be Callie. Right now in P11, not the strongest performance so far. His teammates in P3. He's going to put himself into P8. He found 7 tenths, but not enough time to go in front of JXW. Not enough time to break into that top 7. Now, going on board with Lando, who's invalidated, so not the greatest for him. He did back off. He's going to let Harry Noir, his Ferrari teammate in front of him. Harry Noir, 4.5 tenths up through the first 2 sectors. I wonder what he can do in that final sector, out of the final corner, using all the track we saw his Ferrari teammate doing. He improves by 4/10 of a second. Didn't find any time in that last sector, but will stay in P12. Lando decides to hit the pit boxes because he did invalidate Callie. Still out on track as well. He's on an in-lap. Harry Noir just finished one. We saw on board with him. Rocco is going to be the next one on track. He's coming through turn number 12 for the time being. I wonder what he can do. Breaking into turn 13, a little bit of a lockup there for the Haas driver, so not the greatest so far. Once again, into turn 15, another lockup. We've seen many drivers do it so far, and a big slide out of turn 15, so the tires are absolutely screaming. It is overcast conditions here, but his tires seemingly overheating on the rears, and he invalidates through turn 18, so he's going to be pulling into the pit lane to do one final lap. RC just in behind. Going to be starting one as well, so I wonder what he can do right now. P15 on a 32.9. That's not where he would have been hoping to be in this qualifying session. I think that's back on an L lap, just followed very closely in behind by Excel Cali, who's on an in lap. He's going to be hoping to get into the pits very, very quickly and start another lap. I think it's back Barton just in behind, and the Renault going to be starting one as well. Just looking for the next driver on a lap. It's not, I think it's actually, it might be back, or one, the other Alpha Tower of RC7. So let's go into that broadcast camera. Let's get on board with RC coming through the first sector split. He just passed it a few moments ago. Now through turn 10. Or through turn 9 and dipping down through turn 10. Looks pretty decent so far for the Alpha Tower. Looks pretty solid. That setup, the setup looks very, very solid for him right now. Obviously, it should be a wet setup for these guys, considering this track is going to be, it's going to be starting wet and going to dry conditions. Some drivers are going to be going for dry setup. Some drivers are going to be going for that wet setup, trying to gain as much pace as possible in those early laps when the intros are possibly wet. RC is up by 8.5 tenths right now in P15. That would be enough to put him into P14. So let's see what he could do through the final few corners of this lap. Through 15, a little bit wide. Not either carrying too much speed or braking too late there into 15, but now through 16, 17, and hitting the apex of 18 all the way to the right side, 419, trying to flick it in all the way down to 4th gear for the Alpha Tower, now breaking into the final corner on that entry curb. A little bit of a lockup, though, for the Alpha Tower driver across the line. It's going to be a 31.8. He finds an extra 10.5 and will put himself, as I mentioned, into P14, but now it's going to be his Alpha Tower teammate across the line. Lucky not to invalidate there at turn 19. He was up by 3 tenths. Across the middle sector split in between turn 12 and turn 13. And what can he do in the final few corners through turn 20? He finds time, even with that spin of the final corner, puts himself into P5, so a good lap there. Excel Larkin, who improved earlier on, he's going to be starting his 3rd lap right now on those soft compound tires. He's going to be looking for an improvement. Jinnit has retired in the pit lane. He has decided that he is going to be done with this session. The 2 Excel boys, P1, 2, and 3, all starting laps right now. Lando's in that first sector on his out lap. I think that was the Racing Point of JXW just starting a lap in behind. Barton is going to be the next one across the line in the Renault. A little bit of a snap. It's going to be a 52.1, so he did back off. He must have invalidated on that lap, looking to go for another one. JXW, or not JXW, Zamalgas out of the final corner. He was up by 700 across the middle sector split. He only finds 3,000, so he will not improve a position, but he does improve his time. That might help him for some of the drivers in behind who might be improving out on track right now. Rocco is going to be on an out lap, being leapt through by his teammate, who has not invalidated, and I don't think he's run out of fuel either, so just backing off, maybe looking to start another one. Maybe he made a big mistake there. The next driver, Excel Cali, who is backing off in behind. The 2 Ferraris are going to be are following them. Fusel and letting drivers through. Beck is not on a lap. He's going to be on an in lap. He has already done his lap, and he did improve. Larkin and Miami, I think, are going to be the next 2 drivers across the line, unless that's Dylan. No, that's going to be Dylan just in front of them on in out lap. So let's see what Larkin can do, what Miami can do. Miami looked immensely strong in the first preseason race. Larkin won the championship last season with 27 seconds left, exiting the final corner for Larkin. He could do another one, but he decides not to. He improved by 2 tenths, but not good enough. He's a 10.5 off the back of the provisional pole sitter from early on in the session. Miami improves by 5 tenths, but it's only going to be P3. He's a 10th off of his Excel teammates. He's going to be staying in P3 with that lap time. Not good enough to find an extra spot on the grid. Barton out of the final corner, opening up the DRS. He's going to be starting another lap. It's a 30.4 for him, but it was invalid, so it does not count. Dylan, I think, is just in front of Larkin and Miami. So the next driver across the line is going to be, I think that's Zamagos, who just decided to pull into the pit lane. The session is over, so it's going to be the final lap times for these drivers. Rocco's on a lap. He was up by 7.5 tenths just a few corners ago. I wonder what type of time he can find in these final few corners through 18. Just turning out, trying not to invalidate through that triple right-hander through 19. Looks pretty decent. Trying to carry as much speed as possible. This is the last opportunity to improve spots. Improve that time. It's a 32. 0.058 for the Haas driver. Finds time, but not any grid slots. Next driver across the line, I think is going to be King Wilsey for the Alfa Romeo. He crosses the line to 30.2. He goes into P5. So a good improvement there. Excel Kali, the next driver to cross the line. He was up by 500. Let's see what he can find in that final sector. He actually lost time, so it's a 30.6. He doesn't improve any positions. Next driver is going to be Lando. He doesn't. He finishes and doesn't improve. Harry Noir, the next one to cross the line. He improved up into P11, so he's on poor man's pole position right now, but let's see what Dylan can do against that. Dylan goes into P7. Great lap there. Great improvement. He goes in front of Fuselim, even though they did the same exact time. Fuselim crosses the line, does not improve. Larkin did a back-off lap, so he will not be improving either. Fuselim pulls into the pit lane and will retire, but it's going to be Excel Lando, Excel Larkin, Excel Miami. The first 3 slots on the grid, so looking very, very handy are those Excel drivers. Jinnit is going to be the best out of the rest for them. King Wilsey, Beck, Dylan, Fuselim, Zamaglis, and JXW will be your top 10. Excel Cali going to be starting on poor man's pole position right there. He's going to be in P11. But Harry Noir, DJ Panda, RC, Rocco, Purplo, Squirrel, Barton, and Bagabones are going to be the rest of the grid. Bagabones not setting a lap time, as well as DJ Panda retiring very, very early on in that qualifying session. So yeah, it's going to be quite the race here for the EU tier. I'm looking very, very excited for this one. Okay. Ooh. JXW putting in the chat, he's asking a question of how are these drivers going to fare in the wet conditions. The rain isn't sideways, so it's not torrential conditions just yet here in USA. We've had a scattered amount of rain showers between Monday and Sunday, so let's see what are the absolute extents of the what are going to be the extents of these conditions. I wonder what these drivers will have to put up with in this United States Grand Prix. It's going to be quite the interesting one. Excel Lando is going to be on pole position. He wasn't here last week for the preseason race, so we didn't know quite yet what he could do. He signed up for Tier 1 on Mondays, didn't show up for that race, didn't show up for the preseason race at China. So this is going to be our first actual test of his pace right there. Does look like it's going to be full wet tires for these drivers. Yeah, ooh, Lando almost into the wall there on the formation lap, just trying to get used to the conditions. But yeah, so it's going to be Lando, Larkin, Miami, Jinnit, King, Wilsey, Beck, Dylan, Fuselim, Zamaglos. Ooh, Fuselim, who's actually out of spin. He's going to be dropping down to the back of the field. Zamaglos and JXW, your top 10. They are all going to be on the wet compound tires. Cali, Harry Noir, DJ Panda, RC, Rocco, Purple, Squirrel, Barton, Bag of Bones. It's going to be quite the interesting one. You can see this is going to be the first race of the season. It's going to be the Circuit of the Americas. I wonder what type of racing is going to be going on here. It's going to be quite the chaotic one, I could imagine. We already saw Lando have a spin. We already saw Fuselim have a spin on the formation lap. So yeah, it's going to be absolutely crazy. I think that's DJ Panda who's actually had a spin as well on the formation lap from P13 on the grid. So this is going to be an absolute test of what these drivers can do in the wet conditions. What are these drivers made of? You can see, just look look at the conditions, it's going to be absolutely difficult. I think that's Beck who's had a spin as well. Out of turn 11, another driver spinning on the formation lap. I think that's a total of 4. We've got Lando, Dylan, DJ Panda, and Fuselim. So, yeah, it's going to be a crazy race, and I'm getting very, very excited for this one. We did have rain-affected race in Season 4 for the EU tier, so it's going to be a little bit of a throwback for some of the drivers who were in that one. I know Larkin, Miami, Jinnit were all in that race. Beck, JXW, I distinctly remember in that race as well, so it's going to be a little bit of a throwback. They have a little bit more experience than some of the other drivers, but these guys are absolutely top class, so they're going to be able to get used to these conditions very, very quick and start to go very, very fast. It's going to be Excel Lando coming through turn 19 on the formation lap. Oh, he spun again, trying to get those tires warmed up. But yeah, so it's going to be Larkin leading us to the grid right now. He's starting in P2 the same way he did in that preseason race at China, but this time he is only behind Lando. He's not in front of, or he's not behind Miami. Miami is just in behind him. So I wonder what type of race this is going to be. Lando getting to that pole position grid slot right now, just phasing through Miami. He's going to be lining up on that yellow line in his grid slot. DJ Panda just slotting into his grid slot right now. Fuselim from the back of the grid getting into his grid slot as well. Taking that inside, going to be 8th spot on the grid. I wonder what type of start these guys are going to be getting. Excel Ryan showing an amazing amount of support for his Excel teammate, saying Lando will bottom, but we have 5 lights. Long hold for the drivers, but lights out and away we go. Looks like Lando's actually had a pretty decent start. Him and Larkin are going to be pretty equal into turn 1. Lando covering off that inside line. Larkin lacking just a little bit, but he's going to be on the outside. I think Lando might just have this one covered off. He's going to be P1 into turn 1. We have a few drivers going off. As the nature of turn 1, it's going to be back downhill towards turn 2. Jin has dropped a few positions. He's going to be down to P5, but King Wilsey has had has an absolute amazing start. He's already up in the podium positions in the Alfa Romeo, but going a little bit wide, just in front of Excel Miami. I wonder what Miami can do, try and fight that position, trying to get that 3rd place back, but I don't think it's going to be close enough through that first sector. Now into the middle sector, just crossing the split line, looking towards the Mongols. He's very, very close to the back of Cali, who's getting 2 positions off the start. Just through the first 9 corners of the lap, so pretty decent starts for most of the drivers, if not all of the drivers. King Wilsey, even with that amazing start, he's 2.3 seconds off the back of the top 2. Lando is starting to pull out a huge gap. But Dylan on Beck. Oh, I think that's actually Beck who's made a mistake out of turn 11. I've been there, Beck. I've made that mistake before, but under safety car conditions, not losing any position. Harry Noir getting squeezed off track by Zamagos. Zamagos trying to make the move, pulling out of the slipstream of Fuselim. I wonder what he's going to try and do. Maybe sending it up the inside. No, he's not going to be going for that. Locking up the outside right front tire there. I think, Miami and King Wilsey, they're going to be fighting for it. Miami's gotten that position through turn 15. We have a few other battles. Fuselim and Zamagos going side by side into turn 15. Fuselim's going to be on that inside line. Very, very difficult braking zone, but I think he might just have that, but he was pinched to that inside line. Zamagos is going to get that position up into P8. A decent move there for the Red Bull driver. Now looking towards JXW and DJ Panda through turn 18 right now. JXW going to the inside of 18 and to the outside of 19. DJ Panda trying to fight this one. He had amazing battles in Tier 2 last night. On Thursday night. But DJ Panda is around as well as Jay. I think that's Beck. I think one of them might be out. No, both of them are still in the race. Both of them very, very lucky to get away with this one as the timings start to mess up out in front. We'll have to cross that sector split line, but look at the gap that Lando and Larkin have over the rest of the field. It's a huge gap, but now Miami will be the first one to try and challenge those guys throughout the rest of the race, going a little bit further down the field, trying to find some battles. We do have DJ Panda and Beck both into the pit lane as expected, as they did pick up that damage out of that corner. But yeah, King Wilsey, after being overtaken by, I think that was Miami earlier on last lap, but he's dropped so much time to the 3 Excel boys. I wonder if King Wilsey maybe put on a dry setup. That could be why he is struggling so much. But right now he's going to be in P4. He's going to have to try and hold down the chasing pack. On screen right there, we can see Fuselim trying to get back past the Red Bull of Zamagos, who just in front of him overtook him in the last sector. So we're getting back to that position. Fuselam getting very, very brave on the brakes. Trying to close up as much time as possible. Zamagos going a little bit wide there, maybe carrying a little bit too much speed, not quite used to the conditions, not quite used to those braking zones just yet. I think we have Purple Squirrel and Bag of Bones battling out on track as well. Just trying to find some battles right now on track. I think the closest one, and the one that is at least the furthest up the field, is going to be the battle between King Wilsey, Jinnit, and Dylan, all for P4. Rocco and Barton. I think Rocco just made a move past the Renault of Barton down for P12. Bagabones and Purple Squirrel going side by side. I think Bagabones just got the move down around the outside of turn 17 there, but yeah. Now looking back towards the battle for P4, Excel Miami has 3.6 seconds to try and close in, but King Wilsey is 4 seconds behind. Jinnit using the overtake, trying to use as much of that overtake as he can, but King Wilsey uses his as well to defend that position. King Wilsey will stay in P4 into turn 1. JXW versus Harry Nowarg. Harry Nowarg is going to be on the inside. JXW on the outside for the first corner of the circuit, turn 1. Now dipping down back hill. JXW still on the outside. He's going to have the most favorable line on that racing line for turn 2. It will shove Harry Nowarg off. I don't think Harry Nowarg really deserved that spot, being off the racing line, being on that. Look at the rain, actually. Look how much rain there is just in front of Harry Nowarg's car. He obviously has the racing point of JXW just in front of him, kicking up that ever so much, kicking up that spray. But the conditions are absolutely treacherous. You can already see King Wilsey, even in the clean air, starting to slide out of turn 10. So not the greatest for him. Jinnit, after using all that overtake on the pit straight, still has 100%, but that's what will happen in these wet weather conditions. Now Jinnit using the overtake. King Wilsey using the overtake as well. Let's see what Jinnit can do into turn 12. A terrible broadcast camera there, going on board with Dylan, but he's not going to be close enough to make a move. King Wilsey moves to the outside and then defends the inside, then squeezing Jinnit back onto the racing line. Jinnit is going to be trying to go around the outside, but he doesn't have the pace, he doesn't have the momentum to try and get that move done, but now sending it up the inside of turn 13. I don't think he's going to be close enough for that one. So the McLaren will have to back off. He'll have to try and force King Wilsey into a mistake, but now Jinnit sending one up the inside of turn 15. Almost contact between the Alfa Romeo and the McLaren drivers, but Jinnit's finally going to get that move done. King Wilsey just shoved off track. Jinnit showing what King Wilsey tried to do to him at turn 12. Dylan is going to be through as well, but now Jinnit might ever so slightly be struggling. He's lost an extra 3 seconds because of that battle with Wilsey in to the top 3, but right now Dylan, he's P5 right now. He's getting that position, but now Excel Cali is going to be the next driver to put pressure on the 3 drivers in front of him. Absolutely chaotic race so far. Just had to take a little bit of a breather there. Ooh, Jinnit picks up a time penalty on the inside of turn 1. That's not exactly where you want to be picking up time penalties. That's not where you want to be cutting or extending the track. But look at King Wilsey right now. He is most definitely struggling. I think he might just have a dry setup on, because he's really struggling in these wet conditions. Actually, he's starting to just keep pace ever so slightly with the 2 drivers in front of him, Jinnit. And in Dylan, but now Jinnit actually starting to just ever so slightly, he's trying to stick with Excel Miami right now, but look at Lando out in the race lead. 3.7 gap between him and Larkin, but Larkin has a 4.4 second advantage over Excel Miami in P3 right now. Jinnit, the gap between Jinnit and Miami is starting to equalize. It's around 7.1. There's 7 seconds. That's around what it should be over the last lap and a bit. Right now, Excel Cali trying to put pressure on the driver in front of him, but now JXW switching to the inside line for turn 12, trying to outbrake the Williams and Fuselam. I think that DJ Pandu's had a little bit of spin through the first sector, so yellow flags there and in sector 2 as well. Just that little area. JXW trying to round the outside of 13. That's not going to be the greatest overtaking maneuver or overtaking spot. He was on the curb on the outside there of 13. Now trying literally everywhere to get past the Williams and Fuselam. I think the rain is starting to get a little bit lighter, but JXW still on the outside of 15, but he's now going to have to more advantage line through 15 or through 16, 17, and 18, but Fuselam on the outside line, able to carry more momentum, and it's going to keep that place so far. But with the battling of JXW, he's going to be starting to fall ever so slightly back. Larkin into the pit lane. Is this going to be for wet or intermediate tires? Yeah, he's going to make that call super early, trying. I think he might just come out in traffic as well, so this actually might not be the greatest call for Larkin, the champion from season 4. Yeah, he's gonna be in this huge train of drivers. He's gonna have to try and cut his way. He's gonna be right in behind his teammate of Fuselam, but he's gonna make a little bit of contact with JXW coming out of the pit lane right there. Harry Nowarg close enough, but not close enough was close, but not close enough to make the move on Larkin. Now it's coming out of the pit lane. Let's see what Larkin can do on those intermediate tires. That's going to be absolutely crucial, as I think Bag of Bones has just had a spin out of turn 1. DJ Panda saying in the chat that he has a dry setup. So he's only in P18 right now, obviously having that spin a little bit earlier on. But I wonder how Lando as well as Miami are going to react to these drivers. Miami's starting to close up. We're starting to open a gap to the McLaren of Zenith, so I wonder what he can do. But now, let's go on board with Excel Larkin. He pitted from second place on track. He's going to be losing time, not being in clean air. And now using his overtake down towards turn number 12, maybe sending it. Yeah, he's going to be sending it from a long way back, just around 2/10 back is Williams on the inside of the Racing Point. JXW giving him the room, though, to get that move done. But now, Larkin around the outside. He's around the outside of JXW. It is Williams' teammate and Fuselim. Fuselim having a big slide on those full wet tires. But Larkin, what a great move there for PA. He's going to be trying to make up as much time as possible, trying to gain all the time that he really needs on Lando in front of him, trying to get the undercut. Lando decides not to come into the pit lane. Miami deciding not to do the same either. Zenith and Dylan, I wonder what they're going to be doing on the strategy, but Larkin right now absolutely flying on these intermediate compound tires. And I think Dylan just pulled in the pit lane, so Zamagos is not going to be coming in. That's going to be the worst thing possible for Larkin right now, because he has to get past the Red Bull driver. But look at the amount of time he's gaining just in the midsection of the corner. Lando picks up a time penalty. That's going to be crucial for the eventual end to this race. Dylan, JXW, Harry Noir, Barton, all into the pit lane as Larkin is the inside. As RC picks up a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting. I'm not exactly sure why. That's a questionable one, but yeah, Larkin is going to be past Amagos. He's already pulled up a huge gap. Maybe it was Amagos making a mistake, but no, with Larkin pitting on lap number 4. In the end of lap 4, we've had a ton of drivers pit on the intermediate tires. Dylan, JXW, Harry Noir, Barton, RC, all into the pit lane for intermediate tires. Beck not deciding to make that decision because his teammate was in. But now Larkin, after making that pit stop just a lap ago, or coming out of the pit lane just a lap ago, he's already passed Callie. Oh, Callie! Contact! Is it going to be into the wall? I don't think he's got damage. He's very, very lucky to get away with that one. But the Mercedes into the wall is going to be losing so much time. Fuselim having a huge lockup there into turn 11. Zamagos not going to be pressured by him, but he's dropping so much time to Larkin. Now Larkin's only going to be 6/10 back off the Alfa Romeo in front of him, and DJ Panda picks up a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting at the pit entry. So I'm not exactly sure why, but now let's see what Lando and Miami will do to react to Larkin. Let's get up that leader gap right now. It's 25 seconds. Obviously, he's been losing time just being in the traffic. So Lando and Miami did not have to react quite yet. But Larkin is absolutely flying compared to these other drivers. Going into turn 15 right now. He's going to try it around the outside of King Wilsey. King Wilsey on the racing line, but Larkin even further out to the outside. He's not going to be able to get that one done through 15. But on the exit, it's such a good exit, though. On those intermediate tires, they're so good. Lando and Miami are going to be both into the pit lane. But now Larkin is up in the P4 on track, but he's so far behind. Being in that traffic really, really cost him so much time. Lando, Miami, Zenith, all into the pit lane. I'm sure most drivers will be coming in. King Wilsey decides against it, though, but now Larkin out of the final quarter. He was in front of Miami and Zenith, and he was behind Lando going into the pit lane, but he has that 2-lap, these drivers are going to have the 2-lap tire advantage, but Miami is going to be behind, and quite far behind, might I add, as well as Zenith. A lot of drivers coming into the pit lane now. Zenith, as we saw Lando, we saw Miami, we saw Zenith, we saw Zamagos coming to the pit lane. Oh, Zenith, they all got jumped by Dylan. They got jumped by JXW. They got jumped by Harry Noir. Zamagos out of the pits in P9. Fuselim in P10. Barton right now is making up so many positions on that intermediate undercut. But now he's going to be trying it around the outside of turn 2. Has the better exit. Fuselim is still trying to get used to those intermediate compound tires. But I think Fuzz is going to have that momentum. He's going to have that racing line and going to be able to pull far past Barton in the run-up. But right now, an absolutely huge contact with the wall. Callie lucky not to get damaged, but he's now going to be down in P12 out of the point scoring positions. Beck deciding not to pull in the pit lane. He's going to be behind his race Alpha Tower teammate in RC7, but Lando just going on board with him. Sorry. But Lando setting purple middle sector. He didn't even have to pit. He had a 7.5 second advantage over Larkin because of that traffic. So he could have maybe even waited a lap to try to make the decision to pull into the pit lane. But right now, looking on board with Barton in the Renault, he's going to be trying to close up to the back of Fuselim. He's going to have that tire temperature advantage, but he doesn't have that tire wear advantage. This is going to be his first one. Zamagos is off. He's out of the race. Not exactly sure where that happened. How did he... what? I'm very confused, but we have a virtual safety car. He's put it in the wall somehow. Yeah, I'm not sure how that one... Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how that happened, but King Wilsey, who's pit under the virtual safety car, he might actually be gaining a little bit of time. He could have pit 2 laps earlier, but now pits under the safety car from P3 on track. He's going to be coming out in P7, just behind Harry Noir, but just in front of Fuselim. So Fuselim is going to be absolutely buzzing about that one because he has to get through one more car, try and catch up to the back of one more car in front of him. Gomez saying that his wheel fucked up, so I'm guessing that's why Zamagos ended up in the wall. But yeah, so now after those first rounds of pit stops, actually Beck deciding to stay out. I'm not exactly sure why. He's still on those full wet tires. Maybe trying to get to the dry conditions, but I think he's just going to lose too much time if he decides to do that. Lando out in the lead, 7.5 seconds for the Ferrari driver, followed by Larkin and Miami, and then Jinnit. It's all 7.5 second gaps for the top 4, but then 2 seconds to the back to Dylan, and then JXW, Harry Noir, King Wilsey, Fuselim, Barton, your top 10 right now. They're all going to be scoring points as it stands. Excel Cali, the first in P11, can try and close down Barton in the Renault. He's 4.2 seconds out in front of the Mercedes driver, but going to be trying to push all out to get that gap back. Harry Noir is really close to the back of Jay. Never mind. No, he's not. We're going to pause and hopefully get that fixed. No, it did not fix. So that did not fix it either. But okay. Well, that gap is not very accurate right now, but it's going to be Rocco back at bounds, RC back, Purple Squirrel, and DJ Panda. The latter two of those having spins or just making mistakes and struggling in these wet conditions. It's supposed to go dry at the end of this race. Obviously, the tires, we have switched to the immediate tires as Dylan sets the fastest lap of the race in the Red Bull. He's down at 70% ERS, so I'm not exactly sure how much he has used as JXW. This is the fastest lap of the race in Tier 1. He was the first driver to pit on the intermediates and gained so much time because of that and put himself in that podium position for Tier 1. Was able to finish on that step, on the final step of the podium just 6 days ago. So let's see what he can do in this one. Looking on board, I think the closest battle is going to be between Barton and Fuselim. Barton having a resurgent comeback after that first lap, being behind Fuselim. He came out side by side with the Fuselim came out side by side with the Renault driver and then pulled that gap out to over a second, but now Barton has closed that gap back into 9/10 of a second. So maybe Fuselim taking one cooldown lap after his pit stop, and now he's going to be pushing, and that gap is really it's extending, and then it's well, the gap is just changing a lot. Okay, that's all I have to say right now. But Barton using his overtake, trying to get to the back of Fuselim in front of him. He's not going to be close enough to make the move, I don't think, but he's using a lot of overtake. Fuselim will decide to go defensive, but he realized that Barton is no threat. Actually, double front lock up there for Barton in the Renault. He's Excel Lando sets fastest lap out in the lead of the race. He pulled 2 seconds on that last lap. It's a 45.2 for the Ferrari driver. Larkin not able to compete with that pace right now from the Ferrari driver, from the race leader. But now, Barton still looking on board with the Renault driver. It's the closest battle out on track. I think it's going to be the closest battle for some time. Barton through turn 16 having a little bit of a slide there. Is back, I think, has just made a mistake. He spun through turn 12 as well as Rocco. Rocco's made a mistake as well. So 2 mistakes in that final sector for Beck and for Rocco. Beck is going to be losing a position. Rocco losing many positions as well. He's not going to be losing one to his Haas teammates as Beck did, but Rocco is going to be almost into the wall, lucky not to pick up damage. It's very, very difficult conditions. As you can see, that many drivers starting to make mistakes. Would have expected it from Beck. He's still on those full wet tires, but right now still looking on board with Barton. It's still the closest battle out on track. right now still on board with the Renault of Barton. He's in P10 trying to get onto the back of Fuselem in P9 right now. Excel Lando is pulling even farther away from the from second place in Larkin. Callie picks up a time penalty in P11 right now, as Beck finally decides to pull into the pit lane and fit those intermediate tires. He's going to be lapped by Excel Lando because he's now in last place. Beck also had to get a front wing change, so that's, I'm guessing, why he decided to come into the pit lane. So now Lando has lapped the first driver in front of him. He lapped Beck, and he's going to be closely followed by DJ Panda now getting back on board with Barton. This gap is really having that type of accordion effect. It's extending, and then it's closing right back up again. That gap was up to almost a second there. I think it was 1.2 just for a little bit, but now Barton has closed it back down to 5 tenths, and now it's extending once again. It's 8.5 tenths between these two drivers. So Barton really trying to get onto the back of Fuselem. Fuselem has some amount of would have had some amount of experience if he decided to not give up his seat to Eric for tier 1. But right now, yeah, Fuzz into turn 1. Barton starting to struggle a little bit with the braking. He's noticed that he's had quite a few lockups right there on track. We saw a double front lockup into turn 12 just a lap ago. We saw a little bit of a lockup there as actually Barton picks up a time penalty. Yeah, time penalty. So yeah, he is really struggling right now in P10. He's in the final points position, and he doesn't have much challenge from Callie. He's actually starting to pull away, and that gap has increased by 2 seconds. Since the last time we checked that gap, right now, as we do have a little bit of a boring part of the phase, a little bit of a boring phase of the race, is trying to get in, just waiting for these dry conditions to start to really spice this one up. The first lap, or the first Grand Prix here in the United States of the Americas using this track, using the circuit of the Americas, was in 2012. We normally have 56 laps here, but right now we only have 28 because it is a 50% league race. That's what we do here at Zenith Online Racing. 50% race is short qualifying for the drivers. Right now, these drivers are trying to navigate all 5.513 kilometers of this circuit. It's going to be very difficult. You can see these conditions are super difficult. DJ Panda just getting lapped by Excel Lando right there out on track. You can see that on the mini-map going through the first part of that middle sector right then and there. The Ferrari driver coming through turn 9 as we speak, as he actually picks up a second time penalty. So Lando, he has the pace, but he's making a lot of mistakes and picking up those penalties. That's not going to be good for him. If he picks up one more, Larkin will only be 1.6 seconds out of that penalty window. So Lando might have to start thinking about Larkin in a sense here right now. But Larkin 4.6 seconds out of that penalty window. Still on board right now on screen with the battle between Barton and Fuselem. The battle for P9. They're pulling to Callie, and I think there might just be closing to Fuselem, but Barton trying to get that gap closer. He's going to be in that dirty air, but he's picked up his second time penalty. I'm not exactly sure what I just saw, but I thought I saw a puncture in that rear left of that Renault, but I don't think he did considering how fast he is going. King Willsey picks up a time penalty in P number 8. Just in front of Fuselem. But yeah, Fuselem is really closing down the gap to the Alfa Romeo in front of him. King Willsey was struggling earlier on in this race, but right now he's going to be struggling even more as I sit up in my chair because Barton is getting really close to the back of Fuselem once again. He's using so much ERS. Fuselem is on 60%. Barton is on 30% going into the braking zone of turn 12, but once again not going to be close enough to make that move for P number 9. Fuselem, that gap to King Willsey is starting to stabilize. Actually, as I say that, he closes in 2 tenths just at turn number 13. So yeah, pretty decent there for Fuselem. He has Barton just in behind, trying to contend that spot for him, but now he's to try and get on with it, try and get past King Willsey. He's going to be in that dirty air very soon. I think that DJ Panda has just had a little bit of a spin. Yeah, going on board with Excel Miami. He's going to be passing the scene of the accident just now, I do believe. But yeah, I think DJ Panda's actually got going once again. So Yeah, he's really struggling in this race and picks up his time penalty. So yeah, not the greatest races for the Alfa Romeo driver. Going back on board with Fuselem, he is 7 tenths behind to Barton and 1.2 seconds in front of him to King Wilsey. So let's see what he can do throughout the rest of this race. Harry Noir just in front of these three drivers picks up a 3-second time penalty. So a lot of drivers starting to pick up penalties. It's very, very easy to invalidate at the Circuit of the Americas in qualifying. Very easy to pick up those time penalties if you're pushing, trying to use all the track as possible, or trying to use all the track that possible. And that makes it even more difficult in race conditions and in these very, very difficult wet weather conditions to pick, or makes it all that more easy to pick up time penalties. But Lando right now is absolutely flying. He's pulled out an even bigger gap to Larkin in P2. It's 11.8 seconds between the two race leaders right now. Still on board with Fuselem in this battle for P8. He has 1.3 seconds in front of him, 7 tenths just in behind him to Barton. Barton not going to be close enough to make or to even challenge Fuselem into turn 12 this time around. We're on to lap 14. Lando going through turn number 5 as we speak right now, going through turn 6 and through that middle sector split. So I wonder what he can do throughout the rest of the race, and especially once we get to the dry conditions. He was on pole position by almost 4 tenths, I think. Or no, he was on pole position by a tenth, but that was his banker lap. He didn't even have to do a second or third run. As Barton, makes a big mistake there in the Renault out of turn 19. It's very, very difficult corner, that is. Difficult to get it right, difficult to not, or to keep it on the track. As Zenith picks up a second time penalty. Dylan in behind doesn't have one, so he's going to have to try and pull out and double the gap that he has right now, and even more. JXW 9 seconds behind that battle for P number 4 as it stands right now. Zenith 11.2 seconds off of the 3 race leaders, but Larkin 12.4 seconds. He's really starting to fall back off the back of the Ferrari. That could just be Lando's pace, or it could be Larkin starting to fall off, not having the most favorable tires. Orlando does have a 2-lap tire advantage in the Ferrari. So yeah, he's really, really showing his pace right now. Miami, 8.5 seconds behind Larkin. I think Larkin has pulled out a gap, or an extra 1 second to the Mercedes behind him after the pit stops. Zenith was around 7.5 seconds back after the pit stop, but now that gap is 11.3. Dylan, the gap between Dylan and Zenith is really starting to stabilize. It's just around 3 seconds, if not a little bit less. JXW 9.4. He's starting to fall off the back of Dylan. Harry Noir 4.4 back, but he's right in front of this battle right now. It's 2.7 between Harry Noir and King Wilsey. King Wilsey actually has pretty decent pace right now. He's starting to close down the Ferrari of Harry Noir. Once we get closer to these dry conditions, you can see the rain is really starting to lighten up here in America. Fuselem is trying to close down and overtake the Alfa Romeo of King Wilsey. That's the battle we've been watching for the last few laps as we are going on to lap 15. Right now, Lando going and dipping down through turn 10 on the mini-map. So yeah, Lando really, really dominating that one. He's opened the gap up to 13.1 seconds. Ooh, King Wilsey has a little bit of a snap out of turn number 19. That's what we saw Barton do just last lap. That gap was from DRS range, even though there is not DRS, as Fuselem's pit windows opens for another set of intermediate tires. So maybe not able to take these ones to the dry conditions, actually. I think has it stopped raining? It might have stopped raining, so we're almost at those dry conditions. Now, the actual thing we have to think about, especially for these race leaders, Lando doesn't have to risk anything. Neither does really Larkin or Miami. They can pit once it's 100% for sure that the dry tires are going to be faster. Fuselem only 1/10 off his delta on his PB in that first sector, so maybe these intermediate tires are starting to get a little bit faster. King Wilsey picks up a time penalty. Once again, not going to be good for him. He's going to be dropping at least one position now to Fuselem in P9. It's about the 1 second gap between those two drivers, but King Wilsey is closing down Harry Noir. Not by very much, but it's still closing. I think Purple Squirrel just had a crash into the pillar, and we're finally going to get off of Fuselem. He's gotten too much TV action tonight that he definitely does not deserve. in the Williams. Purple score going to be into the pit lane. I wonder what he's going to be pitting for. Is it going to be dries? Yeah, he's going onto the medium tires, so he's going to be the first one to blink. He's going to be the first one to go onto those dry compound tires. He doesn't think the softs can get to the end. I made that mistake on Monday night. I went to the mediums thinking that the softs would die off at the end. As Larkin is going to be into the pits as well. He's going to be fitting the medium tires as well. So this race is really going to start to heat up. DJ Panda is going to be into the pits as well. I'm guessing for either mediums or softs. The softs are going to be so much quicker right now in these conditions, but the the softs would be so much quicker in these conditions if they could get to the end of the race. But right now, I think just going out of the dry tires could be a lot better. DRS has not been enabled yet. Dylan, Harry Noir are both going to be into the pit lane. King Wilsey, Fusil, and Barton will all decide to stay out. Not taking the risk. I think Callie might... no, Callie's not going to be into the pits either. I'm surprised the two runners have not split strategy either. Back Bounce is going to be staying out as well. But I think it's a smart call actually to stay out on the inches right now. But let's go on board with... Ooh, we have a yellow flag. Ooh, is that Purple Squirrel? Yeah, Purple Squirrel on those dry compound tires. He did just switch to those mediums. He's had a spin off the exit of turn number 9. So you can see these drivers are still struggling. Maybe it's just a little bit too early to switch compounds. I think that was someone coming into the pits. Yeah, that was Rocco and the Haas to get onto the medium tires, just possibly. Lando is still not far off of his deltas. You can see he's sliding all around, but he's not pitting yet. Yeah, he's going to be staying out on track right now, going on to lap number 17. So maybe if he can take these intermediate tires long enough, if the track takes long enough to dry out, he can go into the softs and just go so much faster than the drivers around him. Right now, has a 24.3 second lead to the next driver. That is Miami after Larkin made his pit stop. Let's go on board with Larkin, though. Let's see what he can do on those dry compound tires, but he's losing so much time to Jinnit, who is, well, throughout this race has been immensely faster than, yeah, he's lost 2 seconds in just like 3 corners there. So, yeah, those medium tires are not the greatest decision to go on to right now, but Miami is going to take that. He's going onto the hards. Why is he going onto the hards? What is, what? What? I am very confused right now. Oh, King Willsy's out. Who was that? I think that was... Oh, yeah, that was DJ Panda who just had a spin. But going on board with Excel, Callie has purple... Oh, yeah. King Willsy has put it into the wall, trying to get into the pit lane. Is it safety car? Safety car. Bag of Bones makes a late decision to pull into the pit lane. Dylan has missed the pit exit. Or he missed the pit entry. So these drivers are going to be able to go into the dry compound tires. Lando's lead is going to be absolutely obliterated. Harry Noir is already on the mediums. He's not going to have to pit. This race is really going to start to kick off. RC's in. I think Lando's going to be the next driver on track. He's left up to P14 right now. Out on track, it's going to be P13, though, because these drivers are going to be passing King Willsy. This is an absolute, well, not a gift. This is going to be the absolute worst thing to happen to Lando right now. Miami pit, and he's in front of Larkin on the hard tires right now. You can see how much time Larkin lost just by pitting 1 lap earlier. Lando trying to get to his delta right now, but he's going to be on the intermediates. He's going to be pulling into the pit lane. Yeah, most definitely going to be pulling into the pit lane. So, yeah, Lando's going to be in. Janet's most definitely going to be in. Miami's already made his pit stop, but he's on the hard tire, so I expect him to make another pit stop. I wonder if people are going to be pitting for another set of soft, or going to be pitting again off the dry compound tires. But I don't think Larkin has that luxury right now. He's on the mediums, as well as Miami on the hards. So I wonder if they're going to be pitted on the softs, because those soft tires are going to be so much better going to the end of the race, and they can get to the end. I know from experience those tires can get to the end of the race. JXW and Jinnit all know that those tires can get to the end of the race. So right now, let's see what he can do. Oh, Lando has picked up a 5-second time penalty for crossing the white line on pit exit, so not the greatest for him. Lando is stuck behind Beck as well. Jinnit's going to be in. Miami deciding, is he going to pit? Miami, yeah, he has crossed. Yeah, Miami has decided to pull into the pit lane. JXW is going to be in, as well as Larkin. Fuselman has to pit or get off these intermediate tires, but he's going to have to double stack with his teammate. Barton's going to be the first runner, so he will most definitely be in. Callie, I think he has enough of a gap to his teammate. He shouldn't get held up. But I think we're just going to have to see what tires these guys decide to go on to. RC's going to be on the soft, so he's not going to have to make another pit stop. So I think that's a good decision for the AlphaTauri driver. Fuselum getting held up a little bit, but he's going to be eventually onto those soft compound tires. Williams doing a pretty decent job of getting him out there. He's going to be into P, it looks like P number 7 there for the Williams driver. Ooh, Barton having a big snap out of the pit, or on the pit lane exit there. It's obviously very, very tricky conditions though. This is literally the exact same race that Tier 1 had, except without this safety car and a few more safety cars at the beginning of the race. So what are these drivers going to be able to do in these conditions? It's going to be very, very difficult. They're going to have to try and warm up those tires and try and possibly get used to them. Bag of Bones is a little bit of a slow stop. He's going to be on to another set of mediums, interestingly enough. I think that's a little bit of a questionable decision for him, but right now, let's get back on board with the race leader. It's going to be Excel Lando. He's already caught up to the safety car. Zenith is still 22 seconds in behind him. So once these drivers get close, get up to the safety car, Bag of Bones and RC switching positions. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe one of them had a little bit of a spin. Not exactly sure, but yeah. Yeah. Lando is pit again. Lando's been disqualified. Oh, Lando. Oh, Lando. Excel Lando has been disqualified from the session for passing the safety car, trying to serve his 5-second time penalty. What a turn of events here. Right now, it's going to be Zenith inheriting the race lead. Let's get these penalties up on the screen for you, but he has 6 seconds of time penalty, so that's not going to be the greatest for him. He's going to have to try and pull out the biggest gap that he could possibly pull out. But right now, Miami is going to be taking that net race lead. He's in P2 right now on track. JXW and Larkin will be absolutely nipping at the Mercedes driver's heels, trying to get past. JXW is in the same position he was on Monday night. He was able to fight through the wet conditions, off the wets, off the inters, and he's going to be into the podium positions right now. He's in a net P2. As it stands right now, he doesn't have any time penalties, so he could be picking up 2 podiums in a week, could the Racing Point driver right now, but it's going to be Excel Larkin just in behind him. Larkin is going to be fighting for this race win. He's only a reserve, I think, but he is the champion from last season, trying to prove what he can do. He had Lando one up him tonight, but he's going to be trying to prove what he can do on the racetrack right now. Once the safety car gets underway, once again, Dylan on the mediums in behind, followed by Fuzz and Barton. These two have been glued together on track. Of Fuzz and Barton, they're going to be close again, or they're going to be close once again. Excel, Cali in P8 right now on the mediums. Harry Noir on the softs. Bag of Bones on the mediums. RC is going to be on the softs as well. Rocco on the mediums. Beck is still out on the inters. Okay. And then it's going to be Purple Squirrel and DJ Panda, who are both a lap down. They're going to be in the traffic. I think Purple Squirrel is just splitting Miami and JXW, so that's not going to be the greatest for their situation. The safety car is going to be staying out once again. Beck, RC, and Rocco all trying to close up to the safety car, as well as Begamot, Harry Noir, and Excel Cali. Cali's going to be the closest one to the field right now. DJ Panda just pulling out of the drivers in front, or just pulling out of the slipstream right now as the safety car looks to get underway. Looking forward, yeah. I'm just going to try and prepare myself, honestly, for this safety car restart, because it's going to be absolutely manic. We have people down the field on soft tires. We have the people up at the front on medium. So what are these soft tire runners going to be able to do on the safety car restart? We even have someone on the intermediates, even though it's full dry conditions so far. RC's into the pit lane, as well as Beck. I'm not exactly sure why RC is in. Maybe... Why is RC in? RC is in to fit another set of soft tires. Beck is going to be in to, put on a set of soft tires. Very, very slow stop. Very, very slow stop there for Beck. But yeah, now they are going to be on the soft tires. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break before the safety car gets underway. Once this race gets underway, again, we're on lap 21, looking to go on to lap 20. We're on lap 20 right now, looking to go on to lap 20. It's going to be an absolutely manic restart. I'm going to take a little bit of a break, prepare my voice for this next race. But right now, Excel Lando, we're just going to... I can't spectate him, but we're just going to... Oh, safety car in this lap. So yeah, let me take my little bit of a break right now as I can get prepared for this one and try and be the absolute best in the commentary booth that I possibly can. As we get underway once again, Zenith has decided to punch the throttle. He's going to be out of the final quarter in P1, getting this race underway again. He's already pulled out a gap to Excel Miami on those medium tires. JXW has had a terrible restart, trying to get past the traffic of Purple Score, but now Larkin is going to be challenging him into turn 1, using the overtake, going to the inside of the racing point. He's going a little bit deep into the first corner, but JXW is still going to be on the outside line through turn 1, but the inside for turn 2, but Larkin carrying all the momentum that he possibly can into the S's. He's going to be being up into P3. He has a little bit of time to... He has a bunch of time to try and close down into Miami, who's really struggling on those medium tires, but JXW picks up a time penalty. All these drivers are trying to get through the traffic right now. Dylan in P5 right now. He's really struggling on those medium tires. Fuselim trying to close up to the back. That gap has really started to open up. DJ Panda versus Purple Squirrel inside of Fuselim. They're going to be trying to fight for positions here for P14. DJ Panda going very, very deep. He's going to be ghosted, though, because he is a lap car. Looking forward to the race lead right now. Zenith is going to have to try and pull out that 6-second gap. He knows what he has to do to get this race win, to get that podium for the race lead, or for this race. He might possibly just have it right now. Barton and Fuselim, they've been absolutely glued to the back of each other, to the back and to the front of each other for this entire race. They've been so close to the wet periods of this race, but now they're going to be super close on the safety car restart. Fuselim has a 1.1 second gap in front of him to Dylan, but Dylan has a 1.7 second gap to the JXW. Is actually doing a very, very good job. Stay on the back of Larkin, who's really closing down on Miami. 1.5 seconds off the back of Zenith, so he's really, really struggling on those medium tires. They're going to be a little bit better than the softs once we get to the end of the race, as Zenith sets fastest lap of the race at 33.2, but Larkin one ups that instead of 33 flat on the first lap of green flag action once again in this race. Harry Noir getting to the back of Excel Cali. Cali's on the medium tires as well. You can already see that people on the mediums are really starting to struggle. Harry Noir up the inside of turn 1, hitting that apex beautifully. He's going to be up into P8, so now we have a few medium runners. Cali, Backbones, and Rocca all going to be fighting each other. RC Beck, DJ Pan, RC and Beck not able to close up to the back of the safety car, but Beck sets at 32.7 on those fresh soft compound tires after pitting from the intermediates. Have to take a little bit of break because the action is going to be absolutely non-stop. Once you get the DRS activated, Zenith has broken that DRS. He broke it last lap. It's a 1.8 between him and the Mercedes. So really trying to stretch his legs, but you can see where that pace is coming from. Just look at his ERS. He's at 25%. Is the McLaren driver, but now Miami's starting to use a little bit of his. He's starting to close in. Once again, Larkin, 5 tenths back. JXW just turning around that gap as well. To the driver in front of him, he has a 2.6 second gap to Dylan, who does not have penalties. So JXW has to stick with this trend, has to stick with the 3 drivers in front of him to pull out that gap, but I think he has the pace over Dylan anyways. The 2 Alpha Towers are going to be fighting out on track. They're going to be side by side, going down towards turn 12, back to the outside. I think RC is just going to let him go. They shouldn't really be fighting. They should be trying to make up as much time as possible on the drivers in front of him. So yeah, the 2 Alpha Tires are going to be switching positions as Zenith picks up another time penalty. So that's 9 seconds there for the McLaren driver. He's still on the lead of this race, but he's not going to be winning this one unless something absolutely insane happens. But for the rest of the field, but as we get into very, very sunny conditions, the exact same race that Tier 1 had on Monday night, it's going to be the experience for the EU Tier 1 boys. Zenith leading this race by 2 seconds now, but he's used even more ERS. Larkin 3.5 tenths back off the back of Miami. JXW following this close, following this battle very, very close and behind as well. Not many gaps, as close as the one for the lead as Larkin picks up a time penalty, so he's gonna have to pull out a gap to Miami as well. Miami is gonna, looks like, could end up winning this race on those medium tires. You would never have expected it from the safety car restart. You can just see what type of pace these guys, Excel Cali, and I think that DJ Panda going very, very close through the first sector. Not many gaps are going to be close enough. Only a few close enough for DRS, but it's the first one out on track right now. It's going to be the battle for second place. It's going to be between Miami, Larkin, and JXW. Let's see what Larkin can do, the champion from season 4 for that EU tier. I think DJ Panda's just had a little bit of spin, but Larkin going decisively to the inside. He's going to be decisively back to the racing line. He's going to have that second place on track. Miami getting very, very close to the back of the Williams into the braking zone for turn 12, but JXW 5 tenths back, not close enough to challenge for that one. He has that 3-second time penalty wrapped up right now to the back to Dylan, but Fuselim and Bard, they weren't close enough to battle on track during the while they were both on the intermediates, but now they're going to be close enough to battle on track in these dry conditions. Fuselim on the outside for turn 15. I think Barton has gotten that move up into P6, so a great move there for the Renault. He had a pretty decent race, if I do remember. I think his Renault team had a good race, if I do remember, in the preseason race of China, but now we're going to have to look at that battle, or we're going to have to keep an eye on that battle. For P6 on track, it's 5 tenths between the two drivers through the rest of that third sector, but now looking on back on board with the battle for the race lead. Jenna got his lead up to 2 seconds to Larkin, but now Larkin with that 3-second time penalty is going to be absolutely flying, trying to create the gap to Miami. So Miami does not win this race, but Miami looks to be absolutely set for this one for the time being. It looks like it's going to be Miami winning this one. Larkin in P2, JXW P3, Zenith. We're not exactly sure how far he's going to be falling down the order with those 9 seconds of time penalties, but I wonder where he can finish. It's going to be an absolute insane race if Zenith can try and make up those time penalties. Go look at the position changes. Barton has had an amazing race through these difficult conditions. He's gained 11 places from his starting position. The only driver in the top, in the drivers who are still running who have lost positions are Beck, who's lost 6 places, and DJ Panda, who's lost 2, and he's in the pit lane right now. Let's get back up to those to that tire graphic. JXW getting very, very close to the back of Excel Miami going into turn 12, but he's not going to be able to he's not going to be close enough to make that move, but Barton gets past Dylan. So Barton is going to be now into P5 on track. He's now 12 positions in front of where he started in this race. He does have that one singular time penalty, I think. No, never mind. Barton has 9-second time penalties, so he's in the same boat that Zenith is in right now. Larkin getting very, very close through the third sector, trying not to overheat his tire. This can be absolutely crucial going on to the next few laps. The last 4 laps of this race, going on to lap 25 is Zenith right now exiting that final corner. He's going to be taking us on to lap 25. Larkin a little bit of a slide though out of that final corner, but it's not going to affect him too much as Excel Miami, who's just barely gotten DRS off the back of Larkin. It's going to be absolutely crucial for JXW to try and get past Miami on this lap. If Miami does not have DRS, those medium tires runners are really, really starting to struggle. Fuselim not close enough to the back of Dylan into turn 1, so Fuselim will have to stand behind for one more lap. But Barton in P5 right now on track is starting to pull clear of the rest of the drivers in the field. Dylan, as we take a little bit of a look through the order, Larkin has gotten into that DRS range as Dylan picks up a time penalty in P6, so I don't think this looks like the order it's going to be. Right now it's Zenith on the race lead, but he's going to be dropping positions with those 3 seconds time penalties. Larkin in P2, Miami P3 on track on those medium tires. He's really struggling. JXW is trying to stick with him. Miami on 30% ERS. JXW is starting to derate. He's with below that 10% ERS mark. JXW or Rocco in back going side by side through the first sector. They're almost touching there, but Beck has to back out of that one through turn 9, but Fuselim will finally get past Dylan. Fuselim now has to try and close up to the back of Barton. He's been battling with him all race. I think that DJ Panda's just put one into the wall. I don't think he's picked up wing damage. No, he has not. In the Alfa Romeo, it's just a little bit of a spin, just a little bit of an off on the circuit right now. JXW not close enough to make a move on the lap that we are currently on, but it's going to be Zenith leading us on. Ooh, actually Larkin going very, very deep there through turn 19. Beck and Rocco fighting once again out on track. Rocco does not have a front right end plate as Zenith takes us on to lap 26, but Larkin so close to the back of the McLaren, switches it, goes to the outside, fakes to the outside, and goes to the inside of the McLaren of Zenith. Zenith trying to get that switchback, trying to fight for this place. For P1 on track, he's used so much of his ERS, but going wide through turn 2, not the most optimal line. He's going to have to follow the Williams through the first sector, so Larkin will have the advantage because of that dirty air right now. Larkin leads as he's been struggling so much behind Lando in the wet conditions. He will now lead this race so far. He still has to pull out pull out a gap to Miami. He has to pull out a second to the Mercedes driver. Those medium tires are going to be starting to do pretty decent in terms of pace compared to those soft tires. Those soft tires right now, as it stands, are 7 laps old. They're going to be starting to struggle, starting to overheat if the drivers have been pushing too hard on that compound. So Larkin leads, followed by Jenna, followed by Miami, followed by JXW, who could be picking up his second podium of the week in the Racing Point. Not close enough to the back of Miami. He's really starting to struggle on these tires as well. He just doesn't have the pace quite yet to keep with Miami and get the move done into any of these corners. But now it's Harry Noir and Dylan. Dylan really starting to struggle on these tires. Harry Noir is going to be up in a P7, and now has a 1.3 second gap too close to the back of Fuselman, but he's derating. He's used so much ERS trying to get up to the back and past the Red Bull, who is now just in behind him, going on to the battle for what is the race lead on track. Jin has stayed with him, but Miami is starting to look like a looming figure in this race right now. He stayed with that. He's kept that gap just about equal going on throughout that lap, but he doesn't have the DRS, so he can't close in. He can't make that move. So those medium sides are starting to look a little bit better than they were just a few laps ago. I think that's DJ Panda, who's had a little bit of an off in the S as he's lost his front wing on lap 27 of this race. Larkin leads the race by 0.5 of a second to Jin and Excel Miami, still in P3 out on track, but he could be winning this race. He's winning this race right now because of Larkin's 3-second time penalty, but JXW is still sticking with this train and could be picking up his second podium of the week. I think that's Beck, who's had a big spin out of turn 1. Rocco having a spin as well. Oh, RC, what happened there? I'm not exactly sure what happened to RC there, but Larkin really starting to struggle on those soft compound tires into the final sector for the penultimate time in this race. We're on lap 27 as it stands right now. Larkin breaking into turn 15, not a lockup, not a mistake that we've seen from many other that we've not making the mistake of locking up that front left tire into turn 15 there, but Excel Miami really starting to close in to these guys. He's just trying to avoid any time penalties possible, going to the absolute track limit though for turn number 19, but he's not going to be close enough, I don't think, for this one. RC is off into the gravel trap at turn number 11. I think that DJ Panda is really struggling with that front wing damage as Harry Noir picks up a time penalty in P number 7. He's really close up to the back of Fuselman, who's starting to struggle on his soft compound tires. Larkin still leads going on to lap 28 and down towards the right-hander of turn 2. So it's Larkin leads, followed by Jenna, who's getting very close to the back of these guys, but Miami is starting to struggle. He was able to close down in the first and the third sectors because his tires are seemingly better for the time being, but he just doesn't have the DRS to close. But he's going to have the DRS, I think, unless he gets a terrible exit here out of turn number 9, which he did not. He's going to be able to get that DRS, that helpful DRS, and try and pull himself towards this battle for the race lead on track. Let's get those time penalties up right now. Beck picks up a 5-second time penalty for speeding into the pit lane. He has not had the greatest race of his life, but right now, look at Miami. He's going to be taking this race win unless he picks up a time penalty in the final sector, which is a possibility. Jinnit going a little bit deep there into turn 12, showing how worn these tires are. DJ Panda picks up a time penalty down at 15. He is the only driver, I do believe, who is a lap down. Actually, let's get that leader up right now. No, he is 2 laps down. And he is 2 laps down. The purple score, the only other driver to be a lap down. Miami, 1.2 seconds off the race lead right now, so he's going to be taking this race lead unless something absolutely dramatic happens as DJ Panda retires out on track. But Larkin is going to be coming out of the final corner to take the race win on track. He's going to be stolen by Miami, but Jinnit finishes in P2 right now. Miami wins. He won the preseason race, was on pole for the preseason race, but started this race in P3, but we winning on penalties. Larkin in P2 had a great race trying to pull away, but was just not able to. Those soft tires started to die towards the end of that one, but it's going to be JXW Jinnit Fuselman in P5. A good race for him. Barton from P6, or for P6, a great race there as well for the Renault. Dylan Callie, who picks up points there, but Harry Noir, bag of bones, they're going to be P8, P9, P10 in the last of the points finishers. Rocco going to be crossing the line just now in P11. Going to be followed by Beck and RC as well. RC doesn't have a front wing. But Beck, RC, Rocco, Purple, Squirrel, DJ Panda, King, Wilsey, Zamongos, and Excel will not be scoring points in this one. But your race winner is going to be Excel Miami. Second place is going to be Excel Larkin. And third place is going to be JXW. I can't wait to talk to these guys about that absolutely immense race. Yeah, as we get on to the podium celebrations, Miami absolutely deserved of that race win in the Mercedes. Larkin taking up second place. JXW, though, with a great drive in the Racing Point. He's going to be finishing P3 in this one for the EU tier. So, great race from a lot of the guys throughout the field. Most of them made up positions on their grid slots or stayed in them, but yeah. Excel Miami from P3 on their grid will be taking the race win. Larkin started second, finished second, but JXW from P10, arguably the driver of the day in P number 3 from 10th on the grid. Jinnit started fourth, finished fourth. Fuselum from P8 will finish in P5, but Barton, a great race from him, P17 to P number 6. Dylan will finish in 7th. Callie in 8th. Really struggled throughout that one, but ended up in the points. Picked up 4 points for him. Harry Nowak and Bagabones are going to be scoring 2 and 1 points respectively. But Rocco, Beck, RC, Purple Squirrel, DJ Panda, King Willsies, Mongols, and Excel Landau will not be scoring points. Landau, the story of this one, disqualified under the safety car. Dylan in the ZOR Discord just asking when the last disqualification was in Zenith Online Racing. He got disqualified in this one, and the last one was Dylan, his Excel teammate, last season in Brazil. But yeah, let's get these drivers into this one. No one alongside of me, so I can just add these players, I do think. So let's get Miami into the chat for interviews. South Miami. Larkin. I think JXW might be in here, but I'm not exactly sure. JXW score gaming, I do believe, is his gamer tag. Well, hold on, what is his gamer tag? I'm gonna take a quick look. He's still in the lobby. Yeah, it is gaming. JXW underscore. Oh, it's double underscore. Oh, I'm a bit blind, but we don't have to talk about it. Gaming. Yep, JXW Gaming. There we go. Okay, everyone has been added to the party. For the interviews, it's going to be myself taking you through the interviews. It's going to be a little bit of a different experience. But yeah. Looking forward to these ones. Okay, well. JXW is the first one to join the party, so I guess you're going to be the first one to get your interview. So JXW, can you hear me yet?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so yeah, JX, P3 in Tier 1, and, well, basically the same race here on Sunday, P3 once again. So how do you feel about that one?
Well, I think the other races need to start in the rain a bit more. But there before the safety car, I think Larkin and Miami had both come in on dries, and I was able to get ahead of Larkin, and I think that's what gave me the chance to even get P3, because they went out on dries, and I stayed on intermediates for 2 more laps, and the inters were still way faster, because I gained like 7 or 8 seconds on Larkin in a lap before the safety car came out, so I think that was a big thing for me.
Yeah, in Tier 1, you made the early decision to hop onto the intermediates, and it gave you a lot of positions, but this one you stayed out in the intermediates, and it gave you a lot of positions. So just a little bit of different conditions for that one. But yeah, you had great praise as well. You were able to stay with Miami and Larkin. Once Larkin got past, you were able to stay in that DRS, and that really helped you towards that one because you did pick up that 3 second time penalty, I do believe, on the safety car restart. But
Yeah, unfortunately, my sock fell off on my end at the end. He was gone because of those mediums.
But yeah, so yeah, great race from you. I believe you started P10, if I do remember from looking at
Yes.
the end of that one. So yeah, great, good race from you, P10 to P3. Sure you can't be mad about that one. But the next person on the podium is going to be Excel Larkin. Started P2, pretty decent, just about a tenth off of Lando in qualifying. Were you expecting to beat Lando? Because I know he's pretty quick. How do you, what do you think about that qualifying session?
I mean, from quali, it was only really aiming for P2. I don't think anybody was expecting to beat Lando. Everyone knows that he's rapid, so P2 was the aim. P2 was the best it was going to be in quali, and I managed to get that one going, so that was all right.
Yeah, good job only being a tenth off. I know only Lando did one valid lap, which yeah, I think we should remove him from the league, especially for Tier 1. Yeah. But yeah, the race, Lando really showed off that pace. Was just absolutely rapid in the wet conditions, and then made the stupid mistake of overtaking the safety car while trying to go into the pit lane after picking up a time penalty. So, yeah, what was your reaction to Lando picking up that time penalty? I thought you might have been in a party with him. So, what was his reaction to that, and what was your reaction to that one as well?
Um, he wasn't the happiest person in the world, I'll be honest. Um, there was a lot of sort of high pitched, not really believing what had just happened from him. Uh, from my point of view, I wasn't celebrating or anything like that. The guy deserved to win the race. He had the pace to win the race. So him getting disqualified for something like that and trying to go in the pits is a little bit rubbish, to be honest. I'm sure in the long run it won't affect him too much. He'll still probably win the title, probably win it fairly easily, and he'll deserve it. So yeah, it's a shame for him today, but he'll come back next week and probably do a lot better.
Yeah. The last disqualification in ZOR was actually Excel Dillon, who had kind of a similar incident in Brazil. Came out of the pit lane, overtook the safety car, and just instant disqualification. So yeah, not the greatest of luck for those two guys. But now the next driver, Excel Miami, won the race. Looked like those medium tires weren't going to be the absolute greatest decision. You weren't the quickest off the safety car restart. Larkin, JXW were able to stick with you pretty easily. Larkin getting past both of those guys, both JXW and you. But what led to you picking the mediums over the soft compound? Uh, yeah, a pretty good race though from you. You didn't seem to struggle just a little bit to keep up with. Well, obviously Lando. No one was able to keep up with Lando, but yeah, 15 seconds. Yeah, you seem to struggle just a little bit compared to Larkin, but it seemed a lot of people were struggling in those obviously very difficult conditions. How was the rain for you? Yeah, I think we did just have a comment. Oh, TV Money saying, couldn't hear him. Whoops. Rip. Um, yeah, do you have your voice on share? Or for... it should be in party settings, I think.
I think it's there now. Should be working. Might have had
Okay.
it on. You know what now?
Oh, well, I mean,
By
you can answer
accident.
the questions again if you want to, but...
What was it? So I just run. I'll just go through my race from the start.
Alright.
Shall I quickly? So, I mean, quali was. To be fair, I'll start with quali. Quali wasn't too bad. I was happy only 2.5 tenths behind Lando and a tenth behind Harry. That's probably one of the best laps I've ever done. Uh, didn't have a great start on with the rain. Got overtaken. Just had to get that place back. I never really had the pace with Lando and Harry in the wet, but it was just trying to find the grip, trying to keep it on the track, and just hold out for the weather change. And then luckily Lando got disqualified on the safety car, which is unfortunate for him. It would have been a great battle at the end, I think, although they would have been quicker. Would have been really good. But luckily, yeah, as I said, he got disqualified and then accidentally put the mediums on and managed to hold on for the end because of Harry's penalties, which I've heard somewhere that he's a massive bottler, but yeah.
Well, Ryan did put in the chat that he said Orlando was going to bottle it, and that inevitably came true. So, yeah, Lando, if you're watching, which I'm sure you're not, blame Ryan for your misfortune. But yeah, anyways, great race, to commentate over. So there was only solo comms, and I might have to have a lie down after that one. But yeah, anyways, it's been me, Keith, our Packer, taking you through that one, and a great race from the EU guys, and that's all, folks.